From the School of Journalism and Strategic Media, here's Blue Raider Extra Point.
Hello everyone and welcome to Blue Raider Extra Point. I'm Abigail Martin with Chase Owens and with Will Stevenson. We are here at the School of Journalism and Strategic Media with all of your MTSU athletic coverage. Let's kick it off with Nathan Vaughn and the Big Blue Review.
The Big Blue Review.
The MTSU men's tennis team held two critical matches over the weekend as the Blue Raiders look to defend the ATC and its 26-match winning streak at home. The Blue Raiders rallied from a doubles point loss on Friday to sweep all 6 singles matches en route to a 6-1 win over DePaul. However, the biggest match of the weekend came in the form of 29th-ranked South Florida. The night before, a massive storm rolled through the Middle Tennessee area, causing massive flooding and flash flood warnings for most of the evening and even early Sunday morning. And while ITA officials on site agreed that court conditions outside were unsafe, both coaches agreed to play outdoors at the behest of USF. Regardless, the Blue Raiders conjured up a near identical performance from their 2019 CUSA tournament win by holding off a late USF rally to win 4-3 and extend the winning streak to 28 matches in a row. Pavel Modal again proved to be the decider, as he was 2 years ago in the CUSA tourney final with a tight 3-set victory to secure the 4th and final point. The Blue Raiders now hit the road again for matches against Louisville, UAB, and Memphis in the coming weeks. The Lady Raiders softball team continued its winning ways on Wednesday with a dominating 11-2 run rule win over Jacksonville State. Summer Burgess led the way as the Lady Raiders dealt death by 1,000 blows, piling up 10 hits and taking advantage of Jacksonville State's pitching core. Karina Dodd picked up the win, moving her record to 5-0 on the year. And while the team finished one of its games versus Georgia Tech over the weekend in a 10-1 loss, the other 2 matches were canceled due to weather. MT has another midweek game Tuesday against Murray State before heading into conference play versus Charlotte.
And like Nathan said, this was a very star-studded weekend. DePaul and South Florida. South Florida, just to say some ITA stats, South Florida is number 29 in the country. Francisco Rocha for our team was recently ranked number 35 in singles, faced number 45 and beat him. Stein Slump was ranked number 111, didn't finish his match, unfortunately, with a win. Tom Moonen had to face number 69 in the country with South Florida. And our doubles team ended up beating the number 12 doubles team in the country. So it was just a very star-studded win for Blue Raiders all across the weekend.
And even though Stein actually didn't finish his match against South Florida, the way that he played against DePaul earned him that Conference Player of the Week that he was able to receive. So Stein still had an incredible weekend. This whole tennis team, incredible weekend. And this is only going up 28 in a row.
Yeah, that 28. This win gave him 28, second to only North Carolina. And until it goes otherwise, that streak's going to continue.
Absolutely. They're definitely a team to watch. It's time to pass it over to Dylan Taylor with Around the CUSA.
This weekend, Charlotte took on Western Kentucky in a battle of Eastern Division foes. With Conference USA play just now beginning, this was a great opportunity for both teams to start off hot in the standings and gain some momentum. The real story came, however, in the Sunday afternoon matchup when both teams combined for 33 runs and Western Kentucky prevailed on a 17-16 walk-off victory. Right fielder Matthew Meyer led the way with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs and gave the Hilltoppers their first conference win of the season. In soccer, the Rice women's team took on the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss. This matchup featured one of the better plays you'll ever see on the pitch as junior goalkeeper Bella Kilgore took the opportunity for a free kick and did not miss. They wound up dominating most of the match by a final score of 4-0. Taking a look at the updated standings, in baseball, Charlotte moved into a tie for second place in the East with their win over WKU. Florida Atlantic still sits atop the standings as they have yet to be beaten in conference so far this year. Meanwhile, La Tech and UTSA hold the lead in the West with each sitting at 3-1 respectively. In the soccer standings, Rice leads the West with North Texas matching their conference start so far. Western Kentucky still remains unbeaten in the East with a record of 3-0-1. However, competition is high in this division with Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, Old Dominion, and MTSU all sitting at least 500 or better so far.
Thanks, Dylan. This MTSU baseball team is ranked 3rd in the West, but also ranked is pitcher David Zaz. He is number 2 in Conference USA saves.
And, kind of like how we talked about last week with Fausto Lopez, he's not the only Blue Raider that's doing it all on the pitch right now. Fausto Lopez, top 10 in stolen bases. Aaron Brown is number 8th in the nation in strikeouts. This whole team is coming together, and now they just got to start seeing it come together in some wins. Went 2-2 against UAB this past weekend, but they had some disappointing performances.
And you may see it as being 3rd in the conference, but they just had their first in-conference tournament, or series, and then they're going to come into another series against Rice this weekend. So we can see that bump up. They've only faced out-of-conference tough teams like Memphis, and, it can only go up from there.
We got another tough one against Rice this weekend. But we're going to flip over to the girls' side, and I actually got an opportunity to sit down with an old high school friend and interview Claire Smith for Blue Raider Spotlight.
This week, we got an opportunity to sit down with senior left fielder Claire Smith of the MTSU softball team. Claire took the opportunity to walk us through what happened when COVID took the nation by storm.
And we had just played our first series against WKU, and we are excited to get the rest of the series. And then I remember we played a home game at TSU, and right after the TSU game, we're like, let's shut down, like COVID, everyone's got to go home. And it was crazy because we didn't know that was going to be the last game of the season, what was going to happen next, what we're even going to get to play this year. And also it was crushing for a lot of our seniors that we didn't know if they were going to get to come back or that's how it was going to end. Everything was all going to end.
Luckily for Claire, they did actually get 2 seniors back in Summer Burgess and Lexi Kutching. Unfortunately, COVID also impacted the practice life of the Lady Raiders softball team.
This year, it didn't matter if it was freezing or whatever. We were out on the turf and the football field because they were limiting who could come in and who could come out of the weight room. So that was definitely a different change. And then our practices, we had to make sure we wear masks all the time.
And because COVID is still very apparent in our nation, the actual season for the Lady Raiders had to be changed around as well.
Usually we'll play our conference, we'll play both sides. We'll play our side of the conference and then we'll go over and play 2 more sides. So we'll have 7 weekends of conference tournaments, or not tournaments, conference series. But this year we're only playing our side of the conference. And so that means we only have 5 conference weekends. And we also, instead of playing 3 games, we're playing 4 games now on the weekend. So we have 5 weekends to go out and win and get us into the tournament.
With all of these changes, the eyes are still on the prize for Claire Smith and the rest of the Lady Raiders as they hope for another conference championship. This is Chase Owens with MTN Sports.
Chase, what a nice feature on Claire. And you mentioned that you guys knew each other in high school. Do you have anything that comes up from high school days that you want to talk to us about?
If you didn't catch it right there at the end, I'd mentioned seeking another conference championship. Well, actually, our freshman year, MTSU Lady Raiders were able to secure a conference championship, and that was also Claire's freshman year. But going back to our high school days, she actually won a state championship our freshman year of high school. So 14 to 18, she won a championship. Hopefully at 22, she'll get another one.
That's perfect.
So we are actually going to head over to Zachary Loan with this week's scouting report as he looks at MTSU volleyball.
The Lady Raider volleyball team has the Southern Miss this weekend for the Conference USA Tournament. They secured the final spot from the East last weekend, making this their 2nd straight trip to the tournament. Prior to these past 2 years, they had missed 5 straight conference tournaments. They will play the red-hot Rice Owls in the first round. Rice defeated the number 2 ranked Texas Longhorns last Tuesday, and the Owls are the number 1 seed from the west side of the conference. The Lady Raiders have a few players who have performed well individually. Marley Banton ranks 3rd in the conference in service aces with 29, which means she gets an ace every 0.48 serves. Taylor Isert ranks 5th in assists with 581. She gets an assist every 9.5 services. Amelia Vanderwerf has the 7th best hitting percentage with .347. The Blue Raiders rank 5th in both offense and defense heading into the tournament, which makes a well-balanced team. Nicole Lennon is someone to watch out for, though, on the Rice Owls. She ranks 2nd in points with 4.9 per serve and 4th in kills with 4.2. The Lady Raiders have a tall task in front of them, but their well-balanced playstyle should potentially help them. Western Kentucky's on the other side of the bracket, which really helps the Blue Raiders, as the Hilltoppers have only dropped 3 sets all year. The Lady Raiders head to Southern Miss looking to bring back some silverware. Back to you.
So like Zach said right there, I mean, this is a tough team in Rice, and our Lady Raiders actually got into the tournament even though they lost to FAU on Friday, thanks to Old Dominion dropping their previous 2 sets against Marshall and Western Kentucky. And as Zach mentioned, Western Kentucky, they're the real deal, and MTSU got kind of lucky that they're on the opposite side of the bracket.
Absolutely, but nonetheless, we have another Lady Raiders team taken into playoff action. We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned for our picks right here on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Time for more Blue Raider Extra Point.
Welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. I'm Abigail Martin with Chase Owens and with Will Stevenson, and it is time for your favorite part of the show. It's time for our picks this week. First up is women's tennis. They face off against Western Kentucky University. Your Lady Raiders hold an 11-1 record since 2007.
And I understand that we're supposed to beat this team historically, but the women's tennis team just isn't what we were expecting it to be. They are coming off of a 6-1 win, but it's still not where we wanted them to be. I think the WKU is going to take this one.
I disagree. I think 11-1 becomes 12-1, and I'm going for the Lady Raiders.
I have to agree with you, Chase. 11-1 since I was, 6 years old? I'm going with MTSU for this one. On the other hand, we have the men's tennis team. They're coming off a huge victory against South Florida at home at ATC. They will face off against Louisville on Thursday.
And they beat Louisville earlier in the year at the ATC, but now they have to travel to Louisville to beat them. And with this win against South Florida and the recent ITA rankings coming out, I think we have the energy to take down Louisville on the road.
I was actually on the call for that game against Louisville where we knocked them off here at the Adams Tennis Complex, and it was just awesome seeing the energy from guys like Chris Edge and from Tom Moonen and Stein. And so I think I got to go with them. I'm going to go with the Blue Raiders, and I think that they sweep Louisville this season.
I have MTSU as well. You have Stein Slum, just named Conference USA Player of the Week. You have Tom Moonen, Chris Edge, Pavel Model showing a lot of promising chances. So, of course, I'm going with MTSU with this one again against Louisville. Next up, the softball team will travel to Charlotte for a 4-game series.
They had a little bit of a break. They were supposed to have a full series this weekend, but we had flash floods and tornadoes this weekend in Middle Tennessee, so that went down to 1 game. But I think they're going to take that rest and end up coming into this weekend winning.
I think they are too. After talking with Claire and just hearing kind of some intricacies between the conferences and stuff, they got a real bone to pick with Charlotte. So I think they got a shot at beating them.
Absolutely, I definitely have them for this series against Charlotte, and especially after seeing your feature, getting to see a little bit more of Claire and seeing the energy as you were saying with her. And I'm going to trust your high school instinct. That's surprising for me to say. However, the baseball team has a 3-game series against Rice, a familiar foe for this week coming up, but it's at home.
So on this one, we have a lot of individual talent on the baseball team. We haven't seen them perform as a team yet, and those individual stats are dropping. But now we're into conference play. This is exactly where they left off last year whenever COVID suspended their season. So it's conference time. They have to make their mark. I think that they have to come out and win this series.
I think that you're absolutely right, and especially after this, past weekend, that 4-game series. This one will actually only be a 3-game series between MTSU and Rice, and so I think MTSU is going to get the edge 2-1. I don't think that they sweep the series because that is going to be, that's just tough. Rice is one of the best in baseball, and so just going in there and winning the series is good enough, and I think they can do just that.
Absolutely, and they just split the series as we mentioned earlier, but however, they are ending on that winning streak, so I think they could definitely carry that over. Going up against Rice, like I said, the pitching rotation, as we mentioned, all these players are playing well individually. Now's the time to put it together in the conference play, as you were saying. I've got MTSU. But it is time for more playoff action for the Lady Raiders. This is going to be the Lady Raiders volleyball team, this time for the battle of the conference championship against Rice tomorrow night.
I want to go MTSU, but that's just a tough matchup. You're facing the top team in your side of the conference in Rice, and we barely made it into the tournament. We had to focus on Old Dominion losing in order for us to get in. I just have to go with Rice.
And Rice is just one of the better offensive teams in the nation, right up there with Western Kentucky. And Western Kentucky is a top 20 team in the nation. And so Rice is really that dominant. MTSU hasn't shown some of the things that we kind of expected coming into this season. And so I think that Rice ultimately wins this game.
I'm going to go with Rice, but I do have to say I love a Cinderella story. That team just slipping in and coming out on top. So I think I'm going to do as we did earlier with the football season. We say that we're going to go against them, but really, we're going for MTSU.
Check out Blue Raider Extra Point on Instagram and Twitter.
All right, unfortunately, that is all the time we have here today. Be sure to tune in next Wednesday at 6 o'clock for more Blue Raider Extra Point.
And if you missed any of this episode or any of our past episodes, you can check those out on our website at middletennesseenews.net. Thank you for tuning in to Blue Raider Extra Point, and we'll see you next week.